It's another episode here of Getting There with Gaz, and an exciting episode here because we're talking about business, entrepreneurs, all these really cool things going on. So let's get into it. We have a guest who some people maybe in New York are not familiar with, and just like my dad back in Pop Warner football and Little League, we got in that circle and we found out who our new teammates were going to be, and we had to find out who they were and their names. So for those who are not familiar with you, tell us who you are and what you want us to call us during this podcast. What's your name?
My name is Stephanie. You can call me Stef. It's really whatever you're feeling like in the moment. And I am the CEO of Jypsea Local.
So, Steph, tell us where you grew up. What was your dream job when you were 6 years old? And was that dream job the same dream job you had when you were 18?
So I actually grew up in Toronto. My parents met here in Fort Lauderdale. My mom was a local Fort Lauderdale girl, and my dad was a Canadian boy. And he came down here and met her at a bar, and it was pretty much love at first sight. And they're still married 32 years later and like super in love. Yeah, so they moved up to Toronto and had me and my two sisters. And I moved to Fort Lauderdale when I was 9 years old. I know what my job was when I was 6, but I don't know. I never really had a dream job. But one of my girlfriends did tell me that she found a note that I wrote her in high school, and she was like, "You did it." And I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean I did it?" And she was like, "You even wrote me and you said one day I'm gonna have my own bikini store." And I don't even remember writing that, but I guess it came to fruition. And, it really is true what they say. Like, your intentions are powerful and words and thoughts will manifest dreams.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about that. That note you have when you're a kid, all of a sudden a friend finds it and it comes to fruition years later. So, you have a different start when you're a kid. You're not exactly sure exactly what you want to do, but when you hit 18 and you kind of get closer to those early 20s, do you have an idea if it's going to be business? Do you go to college? If you don't go to college, why do you decide not to go to school
Okay,
after that?
So I went to a local community college here just to kind of like be the buffer of like, me deciding like what I want to do in life. Just because I feel like, in high school, when you're a junior, you're getting ready to go to college and you're kind of like pushed out and you're a kid. I mean, your dreams could be completely different in 10 years, but you're forced to choose what you want to do like at that time, So I just kind of wanted to feel it out. I went to a local community college, and then I actually ended up doing a semester at sea. So so my last semester of getting my associates, I did my semester at sea, which was a 5-month program, and we circumnavigated the globe. We went to 12 different countries. No, it was life changing. It was amazing.
Wait a second. For those watching on the visual side, you are, got the ocean background, you've got the shell and everything else. 5 months at sea, 12 different countries. Tell us the countries. You can't leave us hanging right there. Where are we going?
God, no. Well, okay, so if you're looking at semester at sea now, the curriculum changes, but I got 12 credits as well. And so we started in Hawaii, and then we did Hawaii, Japan, Hong Kong, Vietnam, India, Africa. Hawaii, Hong Kong, Africa, Mauritius, which is like right off the coast of Africa. And then, so we did the Cape, which was the southern tip of Africa. And then we shot up to Ghana. Then we went across the pond to Brazil. And then we shot back up to Fort Lauderdale. And that was like one of the reasons why I love the trip, because I was like, oh, cool. We end up in my hometown. So I was like, it's a win-win.
It's insane. So, like, you're going to all these countries. You're very still young at this point. You're very impressionable, I'd say, at this point. When you finish,
just turned 21 in the States, and then I left for the trip, and like the drinking age everywhere else in the world is 18. So I was like, okay.
Let's
Like,
go. Right.
so,
You're having like a trip that people would dream of at that point. But when you do get back to Fort Lauderdale, did something change? Did you see these different cultures, these different businesses, these different people and thought, okay,
oh
I've
yeah,
been
oh my god.
influenced. Yeah. And what okay, so what does that influence happen now? When you have that influence in your life, is it you have a new path you want to follow? Is it some type of business? What happens when you're done with this incredible experience?
Um, okay, well, first of all, let me just start off by saying that traveling the world is probably the best education you could ever get. I feel like it's worth its weight in gold. It's worth so much more than sitting at a desk and writing an essay, like, or like plagiarizing your essay or whatever kids do. Like, okay, I mean, they're cramming and doing their essays the night before. It's like, what is that even doing? Did that even teach you anything? Like, for me personally, like in college, I felt very in the box. I felt like I was a robot, and it didn't sit well with me. And when you travel, you learn about different cultures. When I left for this trip, my family, my dad is 100% Dutch, so I have a lot of family in Europe. We would like go to Paris and like all these European countries, and you know I loved Europe. Before I went on this trip, I was like, oh my god, I want to live in Europe. Then I went on this trip and I went to these third world countries, and I was literally kissing the ground. I was literally like, we are so lucky to live in this country. And not a lot of people are aware of how lucky we are. Like, there are some countries where if you're openly gay, like you're murdered. You're beheaded. There's certain countries where if you smoke pot, jail. I mean, but like not this type of jail, like third world jail.
Right.
And it was awesome. I took really cool courses. I took human sexuality. I took anthropology of food. I took identity of self. I took like all the coolest courses, and we had field projects. So every country we were in, we had to like do these assignments. So it was really interesting just to learn about, all the different takes in every different country. And I came back and I wanted to be in the Peace Corps, and I came back and I was like fully vegan.
Wow. So look, that has that not just a spiritual and a professional influence on your life, but a physical influence because now your body is changing and you're doing something different. I just want to go back real quick to a point you said there about, people are going to make these decisions and getting there with Gaz, people are going to go through whether it ends up being a business owner, a media member, a coach, an athlete, an influencer, whatever it may be. They have to make these decisions like you did. And you said, look, there is no classroom that is going to teach me what I'm learning right now in my life. I'm going to go out and experience these things, even though it's still fairly young in my life. And these experiences are going to mold me for the rest of my life. And that's what happened for you. So you
Yeah.
go through this experience, you're learning about all these different cultures, you're appreciating the things you can get here in the US. So take us to the first job. What happens? Like, what is your first job when you come back? Because that's probably a little culture shock where 5 months I'm at sea. Now I got to get a job and make some money all of a sudden.
Oh my God. I literally had spent all my money just giving it to people, like on the streets, just
Wow.
just giving it away. Just, I gave away like 10 grand cash. I was like, here, take it. Like everyone was like on the streets. I was like, here. Like, I visited a ton of minutes, all over and like it wasn't mission work. I just wanted to go and like see these kids and like just grassroots, like be part of the culture and like and do it like a local. And maybe that did have some sort of play in Jypsea Local, because the locals of your community, like they're a huge influence on who you are and your business. But I actually came back and I was broke for sure. It's like everyone in college is broke. I was like doubly broke because I just left. And like my parents, super awesome. They're actually very well off, but they were like, "This is on you. If you want to do this, this is on you." And I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna do it." I like bartended, served. I had like 3 jobs. I was saving up for this trip, and I made it happen. And when I came back, I actually got like I went through a school zone. I was like looking down at my phone, like trying to catch up on life, and I went through a school zone, and I was going like triple the speed limit. So I like I get pulled over and I'm like, damn, I can't take this $20 ticket. And then I was like, oh my God, it was like $500. Like, no. I was like punched in the face, like with reality, like as soon as I came back. And it was cool. I think just to like make some fast cash, I like just like dove right back into like bartending and serving and just doing all the little jobs I could. And uh, I went to FAU for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And then after that, I really decided like college is not for me. It's just not for me. And I never really had a real job. I left college and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start making bikinis. I'm like, I really wanna like fully get into this, and I'm not gonna be able to really succeed unless I like dive 100% in. And I bartended for like a little bit more to like save up the money for the materials to get everything to get me started. And then, and my boss at the time was like super sexist, like just super like controlling, like manipulative. All the other girls that worked in this restaurant were all foreign, and so he like would blackmail them and like say, "Oh, I'm going to deport you," and like he was just very, I don't know, he was not a nice guy. He was not a nice guy. You know, and I just decided that I was going to do swimwear full time. I was like, you know what? At this point in time, like I had been like making a couple suits here and there, and you know, I had a couple different clients who started purchasing from me, and like we'll go back to that. We can touch back on like when I first started actually like making some money, but I left and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go. I'm putting in my 2 weeks. And he looked at me and he was like, okay, like what are you gonna go do? Make bikinis? And I was like, well, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. See,
And he
that's the
was
thing.
like,
Like people hear that story that you're talking about, like the bartending scene for you. You're probably, like you said, making okay money. Like you're being less broke. Maybe you're kind of still broke, but like you're doing a better job at that point. And a lot of people probably listening to, they're like, you know what? I would have rolled with that bartending thing for as long as I could, and then figured out what I had to do after that. But you decide to go off. Your boss is criticizing your move and says, "What are you going to do? Go out and make bikinis? Like it's not going to work." But even though your boss is criticizing you, I'm sure you've got some friends and family that are wondering what your next move is going to be. I think for young entrepreneurs like yourself and business owners, that moment when you decide I'm quitting my job and I'm going to go out on my own and do my own thing, was there fear? Were you scared? Were you nervous? Take us through those moments where it's like,
yeah.
this is on me now.
Oh yeah, I was like so for a while. I was like insanely broke, and like I feel like a lot of people get discouraged by that, and they just hop right back into bartending because they think, okay, well, you know, it's gonna help. But that's time, you know, whether it's you know like in the morning or at night, that's time that you could be using to like continue to build your dream. It's not going to be rose petals right away. Like it is a growth period, but you have to put in the hours and you have to put in the work. I was fortunate enough, my parents let me use this like extra bedroom they had in their house. So I was making bikinis out of this bedroom, and I was in there like morning, noon, and night. I was sewing all these bikinis by myself without any help, morning, noon, and night. I mean like all night. Like all night.
Wow.
Like hustling. Hustling.
You you had to, like, you're making these bikinis though. I feel like I know the answer, but I'll still ask it. Who is wearing these? Who is your model? Who are you trying these things on to see if they look good or they look good or they need to be edited?
Actually my sister.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like force my sister to come in, and like she's like absolutely drop dead gorgeous. She's a yogi, she's a yoga instructor. Like everyone falls in love with her, and like she's always had it going on since we were very little. She's also like a phenomenal surfer, like insane surfer. Just has like a built like sporty body, and I was like, come over here, I'm putting this on you. And she was like, oh, this is such a sick fit. It would be really cool if you cut it a little bit more here. And like she would give me tips, and then I would perfect the suits. And then I mean, Instagram is totally different now, but 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it's like whatever you posted, like say I posted something and then you get on, it pops right up because the algorithm was in chronological order. Now it's completely different. It is so much harder to start a business on Instagram now because they've realized how much money they can get from people, and they're making it way harder for businesses to succeed.
Interesting. Yeah, we're going to definitely get to that social media part of it because you guys have had such an influence on social media and Instagram and how your products have been helped by that
Yeah.
social media
And
platform.
that's organic.
I want to go back.
That's never me paying for anything. That's organic.
Yes, I want to go back to your sister though. She's not getting off the hook quite yet because I know family members can sometimes, let's say, be brutally honest. Sometimes family members will let it fly and tell you how you feel, but you're starting a business, and I think any other business owner like yourself probably, sometimes you might be a little vulnerable to start because this is your product. This is your baby. This like you
Yeah.
want it to do well. Was your sister offering you criticism at that point? And if so, how were you taking it? Were you aggressive towards her, or do you have like an
Um,
open mind, like, okay, she's right?
I think like every artist has this issue, if you will, where we are like pretty sensitive about our work. Um, and I also like skipped over this. Like in college, one of my jobs, I was a painter. I would paint like portraits, I would paint paintings. And it's like if someone, it's like you spend all this time putting your heart and soul into this piece, and then like someone puts it on and they're like, it's not that great. You're like, oh, it's like a stab to the chest because like you put so much time into it. But it's not like, you have to think about it. It's not like she's trying to come at me in a malicious way. She actually is coming from a super authentic, honest place. So you have to be grateful that she kind of saved you from, hearing it from another potential client.
Absolutely. I think it's a huge piece of advice. And that's why it's great to have family and friends and people offering that authentic piece of advice for you. Now, I like how you said the word artist there because a lot of stuff, whether it be fashion, whether it be media, there's truly an art form to this. But I think a huge part of this that kind of separates you from other people is that somebody could be a great painter, somebody could be a great musician, but you have to take that next step. You could have all the talent in the world, but eventually you got to get that push and start monetizing and making that money. So take
Yeah.
us through it. How does it happen for you where you decide, you know what, it's time for the next step? How are we going to actually make this skill a business and make some cash?
Yeah, I was having that issue when I was painting because I loved doing it so much, but I was like, damn, it is. I mean, it's the sad truth that the majority of people would rather spend $150 to $200 on a new bikini rather than on a piece of artwork, you know,
Right?
because
Yeah.
they're going to get use out of the item, they're going to wear it. So, at this point in time when I was in college before I fully dove into Gypsy, I was like, how can I be creative and do something like in the arts and make it like really lucrative? So, I started making suits, and it was like my first suit that I made. I posted on Instagram like someone would post a coffee. Like I just posted it. And then before I knew it, people were like, "Oh my god, that's so cute. Make me one." And by the way, my separates now are $70 plus. When I started, my separates were 30.
Wow.
Yeah. So like to all the people who are just starting out, humble yourself. You can't just like start off and be like, oh, by the way, this is $100 now. Like you don't have a name yet, and people don't trust your quality. Build the trust, and then you can, raise your prices. Like,
Yeah.
but so yeah, so I was posting, and and then people were they were inquiring, and I've always had that mindset, of like I can make that. So people would be messaging me and they would say, hey, I love that suit. Can you do something like this? And like send me like a picture of like an entirely different suit. And at this point, I was like, beginner stages, and I would just look at it and say, yes. And I would figure out a way. Even if I was up all night on this one suit, I made it happen to build trust with my client. Because most of my clients from 7 to 8 years ago are still my clients today. And they're like, she's the best. She went above and beyond for me.
That is amazing. That hustle, that determination of getting it done for the client and making sure you always have their back. But as good as that is, look, you got the hustle, you know what you're doing. it can probably be really overwhelming when you're getting all those messages and you're getting this order. You had to have some moments where you're like, oh my God, am I actually going to get this done? Am I going to actually finish this job for this client today?
Literally every job was like, it was ending like to the second, like they were in the driveway and I was like, literally, like that's happened to me like over 100 times where I was like, oh my God, like they're outside, they're knocking on the door. And I was like, 1 second, like freaking out.
But you know what? That anxiety is probably when you knew you wanted to do this. Like nobody wants to put themselves through that 100 times with that anxiety. But when you're doing it, you're like, you know what? I'd do this 100 more times because I know I'm good at this, and it's people care and people enjoy my
Yeah.
product.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. You know, and yeah, it's definitely a build. It's definitely a build, and before anything, like if you start a business and you're purely money driven, it's probably not going to work out. You have to have a passion for what you do. When these girls came over and put on something that I made, and they were like, "Oh my God, I've felt beautiful in my life. Like this fits amazing, literally tailored to my everything fits." You know, that is the stuff. That's the stuff. That's the passion. Like making women feel beautiful, and you know, just seeing their reaction when they put on the garment. Oh my God, this quality is amazing. Like it was so fast and it feels so great. Like that's the stuff. You have to have passion behind what you do.
Was Jypsea Local always the name? Did you have a different name you were going to go with? Was it between 3 different names? How'd you land on Jypsea Local?
I actually landed on Jypsea Local like right away. So growing up in South Florida, my family and I, we were always on a boat. My dad's a yacht broker, so and we were always on the water. We were always fishing. We were always diving, snorkeling, spearfishing. We would go to the Bahamas for a couple weeks in the summer. We go down to the Exumas. If you look up the Exumas on a map, you'll see like the most gorgeous blue water. It's literally a rock in the middle of nowhere. And we would I grew up on these islands like as a kid. We would go out there and it would be no shoes, no phone for 2 weeks. And it was heaven. It was heaven. And I think it was because you're closer to the equator, and you know, me and my sisters, my mom's Italian. We would go out there. We would literally come back a different ethnicity. Like we were so dark. We were so dark. But then I would like look at my tan lines, and we were pandas. I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Because the standard American bikini is like a full coverage suit. Like 7 to 8 years ago, you couldn't really find a cheeky, like tiny bikini. Now it's a little bit more normal. You're seeing it, you know, in Florida. I don't know New York, but in Florida, you're seeing smaller and smaller. And I was just tired of these tan lines and, you know, like really cheap suits not fitting me the way that I wanted to. And I saw that anything even close to what I wanted, like fashion wise, was like far, really, really expensive. And I was like, you know what? I know how to sew. I taught myself how to sew when I was 15 years old. And I made like little clutches and like dresses and purses and things like that. I was always that crafty girl. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to teach myself how to make swim. YouTube, the internet. There wasn't TikTok back then. Instagram didn't really have anything on tutorials. So it was really just YouTube. And I had a family friend who was like straight from Paris who could sew like haute couture Chanel suits like from scratch. And anytime I had a question, she would answer me.
And that's it. It took off.
Taught myself. And
Amazing.
even now, like now, 8 years later, there's like so much information on the internet. You can learn how to do anything.
I think that's a good thing
Anything.
or scary thing. Good and scary all at once.
For
So,
sure. I can
yeah,
see that.
yeah. So, okay. So the business is going. Things are happy. Everybody's moving. I want to go back to Instagram though, because when we're taping this, Yeah,
Instagram is definitely like an interesting topic.
yeah, because we're taping this in February of 2021. And at the last check, and if you're watching on the visual side, you can follow at Jypsea Local on Instagram. The handle's there. You guys got 31,000 followers on Instagram. People are going to look at this like, how am I ever going to get there? How did you guys do this where your Instagram continued to get all these followers via social media?
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, never ever pay for followers because that actually really, really hurts you. I've never done that. All my followers are organic. Um, there are multiple ways to grow your followers. Okay. You can send your merchandise to influencers. You really have to be selective on the influencer you send your merchandise to, because you want them to also have a real following. If you send your merchandise to an influencer, you're like, oh, they have 200,000 followers, but they have 0 comments. And like, you can kind of tell when someone's fake,
Okay.
It's better to send your merchandise to someone who has like 10,000 followers, who gets like 6, and all of their followers are like really, really engaged and interested in everything they have to say, because you know that they have a trust with their followers. So sending your merchandise to influencers and having them repost you and tag you, that's an awesome way. Everyone who purchases from you, make sure that they follow you. Just word of mouth, always good. If you're ever at like a pop-up, hey, follow us, like have that human one-on-one interaction. Hey, give us a follow, support local, support local business, and like stay in the loop. It's become a lot more difficult today to get followers. I think it's because Instagram has kind of caught on to the amount of money that businesses are making. So, like for me, I have 31,000 followers, but I think it's something like only 5 or 10% of my followers are seeing what I'm posting. Yeah. Yeah. Don't
Wow.
don't quote me on that, because maybe we'll have to look into that and fact check it, but I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is, because I have 31,000 followers that are organic and my posts are amazing. That's another thing. You can't just like post whatever you want anymore. All of your posts on your Instagram page need to be like National Geographic status. They need to be like the best, because if they're not, they're pushed down to the bottom and your stuff is like, it's hidden. So that's another thing. If you just stay on top of it, post really good content. I know that stories help a lot now too. If you're like on top of your stories and more people see your story, they're more inclined to follow you because they see that you're actively putting out really good content. I think those are like the main things of like
Yeah,
how to get new followers.
I like that because you mentioned it. Basically, you guys were at the start of Instagram before it really took off, and everyone sees the marketability of the platform and everything else. I usually have one question where I say, "Can I ask you this?" So if you don't want to answer this next one, you don't have to.
Okay.
You mentioned a social media influencer. Can I ask you if you guys ever did send it to an influencer, and if so, who was it? Was like there a big boom that you went from like, I don't know, 1,000 to 10,000 because this one picture happened or this one
Ooh,
product?
okay.
Was there a boom, and was it from an influencer?
Yeah, actually, I had a big boom. I sent a suit to Brittany Ferlin. She is actually Tommy Lee's wife.
Yeah.
And she was super cool. I actually sent her a suit when I first started making suits, because that's another thing. You think, oh my God, they're a famous influencer. I'll never be able to. But if you email them and you're like, hey, let me gift you this, not I want money, please post, just say, let me gift you this. That is like bigger than anything, because it's like, I just think you're really cool and I think you deserve this. She posted it. My phone was like hot. I was like, what is happening? My phone was like about to explode. I was like, what is this? I like turned it on and it was follow, follow. I was like, oh my God, it was crazy. I don't know how many followers I gained. It was like at least a couple hundred. But like, she posted. And then years later, I actually reached out to her again and I was like, hey, Can I send you another one? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. Here's my address, Tommy Lee's address. She gave me Tommy Lee's like Hollywood Hills address. I was like, what? This is so cool. Okay. And she
So
posted like on his yacht, like I think they chartered a yacht in the Bahamas, and she posted in this suit, and it was like so hot. And she posted and tagged me, and I got a bunch of more followers too. But I think she actually ended up taking it down. He didn't want her to be in a suit on her Instagram.
what the heck, Tommy
I know.
Lee? What Tommy Lee? The all-time rocker says this is too provocative. No, come on,
I
Tommy
know. I don't
Lee.
mean to like throw them under the bus because I was like, damn, this sucks.
When I promote
But
this video, it's gonna say why Steph hates Tommy Lee, and then I'm gonna
oh my
tag
god,
Tommy
I
Lee to
know,
for.
no,
Don't do that. All right, I won't do that. It depends. If we need more followers, I think that could work. Don't do that. Okay, all right, I won't do that. That's fine. All right, so we go from this insane boost in your product. You're hitting up social influencers. You're getting the followers. People are finding you. Did I miss something between then and what's about to happen for you later this week? Like, is there one big transition where you're going to the brick and mortar? We know 2020's hit COVID and a lot of things have happened, but how do we go from you grinding, you making your stuff, you're hitting up social influencers to where we are this week, where you're about to open the brick and mortar?
um, I was grinding and selling a bunch of stuff on Instagram, and it was super sketchy. Like I would literally meet people in Starbucks, and I'd be like that girl in the corner of Starbucks, like with a bag. Like I was literally like the drug dealer, and I was like, "Hey, here's your bikini."
Take.
Hey, I was like, "Hey, got the stuff, kid." But and then like people would also be coming over to my parents' house, you know, because I was using their spare bedroom at the time to make all these suits. So all these randos would be coming over, and they were like, "No," and I was like, "Yeah, this is wrong." Okay. So I just kind of like made the decision. I found a space. The rent was right. It was like close to the beach. It kind of like stars kind of just. I was like, you know what? It was a year after I started. Like I was 24. It was pretty scary to like just dive into this huge space. And I had like a couple racks, and it was like 1,500 square feet. And I was like, it was like so big. But I was a little fish in a big pond. So like I grew bigger to like fit, and now I'm in an even bigger space. So it's like sometimes you just gotta jump, and you'll fill the space. You will level up.
So we're taping this on a Monday, February 8th. The expected opening day is 3 days away. So this would be Thursday, February 11th is still the scheduled opening day. What does your days look
Yes.
like now as we prepare for that? Yeah, what's it going to look like? Because people might listen to this on Wednesday when it airs, or they can listen to it 2 weeks from now. We kind of want to go into the journey of pre-opening of what's going to look like when people stop in there.
There's been a lot of floor scrubbing. You know, like no one's gonna care about your baby like you do.
Right.
You know, and it's like I feel like the true hustlers are never gonna be like, oh, pinky up, they'll do it. It's like because I feel like the people who are like pinky up, they'll do it. Those are the people who that maybe had like a backer or like money dumped in, and so they don't have a true appreciation of like the sweat, blood, and tears that have gone in to your baby, into your company. So you know, I've just been merchandising and cleaning and making it shine. And this event is going to be really cool. We're going to have a live mermaid in this shell.
Oh.
Yes, fresh caught. We're going to have live music. We're going to have my mom's Italian food, stuffed shells with ricotta.
Hey.
Hey. We're going to have an open bar, and you know, I'm gonna have a whole store full of like brand new merchandise. So, you know, I think it's gonna be a really good turnout. We really like told a lot of people and pushed it out. Our local news station is gonna be here, and it's gonna be really, really cool. It's gonna be a great new chapter.
If you're watching on the visual
Like
side, yeah, it's gonna
moving
be
out of my last location was you there?
yeah, dude, it's gonna be insane. Like you're talking about moving out of your last location.
Yeah, yeah. So moving out of my last location, it happened so fast, you know, like I found out that I had to move, and I moved 2 weeks later. It was crazy.
So now, if you are listening on the audio side, I want to shout out this Instagram at Jypsea Local at JYPSEA Local. And if you're watching on, again, YouTube, you see the links right there. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, we're going to share all these links as well. For those listening out of state who might not have an opportunity to get down to Florida, what does the online shopping look like? Instagram, if you're looking to maybe purchase something right now, even though you're opening up a store, what's online look right now for everybody?
Online is like everything that I have in the store. It's fully loaded.
Any discounts? Any 10%? Anything going on for the
Yeah,
New York Staters?
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if you use the code word JLBABE, you'll get 20% off.
JL Babe, 20% off, just like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Love it. So we got it. We talked store, we talked social
Cool.
media, we talked about people
Cool.
out of state. Is there anything else that I missed? Did I miss a really cool story? Is there something you want to share to people who are starting their own businesses? Anything else we want to do before I let you go back to getting ready to open up your store later this week?
Yeah, I think that there's a huge issue today with millennials um, not wanting to work their way up. They think that they should just start and that like it should all come like fast. It's like I've been doing this for 8 years. Like it's a climb. And like some years I plateaued and some years I was like, like it's a climb. So I don't think that any job is too small. I think that like take what you can get, like take all the little jobs and don't have an attitude about it and just get the job done. Just do little things like I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but when I was first starting out, like I had 2 or 3 jobs. Like I had all these like hustles. It was like, oh, cool, $20 an hour. Like cool. Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm worth way more than that. It was like, like I was like, I'm starting out. Like I'm starting my dream. Like it's like humble yourself and like take the money and run and like and work and whatever you do, whether it's like getting a job like cleaning a restaurant's toilet or like doing whatever, it's like just do it with pride and get it done because who knows, maybe the person who hired you is someone that like will be your client one day and they'll be like, oh, they were awesome.
After getting to know you, I'm kind of just like out of curiosity, want maybe a future employee of yours to do that voice when you're trying to hire them. Can you give me the voice? Just do it when you interview with Stef
I
next time and
actually
just
had
film
an
it for
employee
me.
tell me that. I was like, hey, I was like, can you merchandise this table for me? And she was like, that's outside of my pay grade. I was like, I also had another employee like 2 days ago. Another person that I'm trying to hire, like I'm trying to hire people in here, and it's like the work ethic today is like it's mind blowing. Like, where is the work ethic? I was like, hey, here's a list. There's probably like 200 or 300 numbers. Call everyone on the list and say, hey, this is so and so with Jypsea Local. We just moved locations. We would love to have you at our grand opening party. Blah blah blah. She was here for like 3 hours, and then she like called me and she was like, I can't do it anymore. I'm tapped. And I was like,
What
really?
the heck?
Okay.
Oh,
She might actually watch this, so you might want to cut that out. Actually. Cut that
all
one
right,
out.
maybe
She's
we
gonna
will.
watch this for sure.
Look, maybe we will. Maybe we won't. If you're not employed, step up the hustle. That's called a boss motivating a client right there. A boss motivating employee.
Yeah.
Steph, I'm leaving that in. Unless you text me later and say you want it out.
I was out like running around and I was with one of my friends and they were like, oh, she's making calls at your place right now. They're like, bet you anything she's not making the calls and she's on Instagram. And I was like, no, she wouldn't. She's making the calls. I heard her when I was leaving. They're like, go ahead, check your cameras. Get on my camera, check it out, log in, scrolling, just looking down, scrolling. I was like, God damn it.
No.
Damn it. So I
You
texted her
better
and I was
be
like,
on.
hey, I was like, you're getting through those numbers, right? I was literally watching her and she put her phone down. I was like, I see everything.
That's right. You should have texted her. That gram better be Jypsea Local you're going through. You better be
No, it
scouting out
wasn't.
every picture on our page.
It was not. It was not.
Well, Steph, I am so happy you were able to come on this podcast and getting there with Goss. I'm so happy you were one of the first businesses we've been able to promote with so many cool things going down there in Florida. You've got such an awesome following on Instagram. I hope people continue to check you out and follow you after this. And again, New Yorkers, wherever you're listening, Pennsylvania, Florida. I had somebody from San Diego hit me up before this podcast. If you're looking for products, whether it's for her or for you, check out all their stuff. Again, these links are going to be shared across social media and more. Steph, it's been awesome getting to talk to you for
Thank you so
this.
much for having
Thank
me.
you so much. I know you're so busy, so thank you for taking the time with us
Oh
tonight.
yeah, of course. Anytime. I love doing this stuff.
Good luck, Steph.
All right, thanks. Bye.